Welcome to the Fandom Outpost, your podcast for all things pop culture.
Everyone, welcome back to the Fandom Outpost. As always, I'm one-third your host. My name is Mark.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Bob. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you joining us today to talk about one of our favorite movies and a look back to 1986 for the movie Aliens. We're going to talk about various aspects of it and what it means to us. And hopefully it'll stir some memories and make you want to watch it again. But before we get into that, just want to ask you to please like and subscribe to our channel. If you would please like this video, leave us a comment what you think about Aliens and what it means to you and what you think about it. Is it better than Alien? Is it more entertaining? Is it a better movie? Let us know what you think, and we'll love to hear from you. So with that, I guess we'll get started. It's been a little while, gents. I'm glad we're all together to talk about one of our favorites. I know this is an anniversary year for it. It's coming out. The anniversary is something like middle of July. Yeah, like the
what anniversary? Is it 40th, 50th?
Yeah, 40.
No, 40th.
Yeah, 86.
Well, I tell you, we're going to be I guess, not that we already aren't, but we're going to be an exclusive nostalgia show on a podcast where everything's just an anniversary that we're talking about. So.
The year was 1986.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like hitting years. I know Manhunter's going to be this year too. I know that's coming up.
Oh my God, dude.
So I know. So yeah, that's a big one for me.
Yeah. So that's funny. Well, let me ask you guys a question. Let's start out by doing this. If you can remember back in 1986, did you guys ever hear of a sequel? Like, this is a weird sequel, right? Because it's a movie that it's not done by the same director. It doesn't follow it up right away. You know what I mean? I mean, it was years later.
It's like 7 years later.
Yeah. So, and like, I remember what I heard about it, I was like, what? Like, they're doing a what? You know what I mean? Like, no internet, folks. So we only had to hear about it word of mouth or see a trailer or something like that, you know? So I can't recall something before this that wasn't like, Rocky 3 is coming out. That's still Stallone doing all that stuff. This was one of those weird type of sequels that you didn't expect, in my opinion.
You weren't expecting a sequel from it. It didn't leave any unanswered questions at the end of the original film. It buttoned it up. You kind of felt it was a one and done at that point.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, sequels were like you say, Rocky.
They were like the expected ones. Yeah, like you would be like, oh, okay, Rambo, that was another one that comes to mind.
Well, that's funny because Cameron was a writer on that.
On Rambo, he was. First Blood Part 2, you're right, he was. And then he was actually working on Aliens while he was doing Rambo.
I listened to the commentary. I watched the special edition on this Blu-ray.
Oh, nice.
Which is a great commentary. It's got Cameron, the producer, his wife, a bunch of the cast. It's got Paxton on it, and it's a really good commentary on that. So
like all together, or is it separate?
Yeah, they're all like, "Hey guys, I'm glad we're all together." Bean.
Oh, that's a rare one, dude.
Yeah,
wow, that's
Henriksen.
Crazy.
And they're all like, "Hey, were you drinking that night?" That kind of stuff.
Oh wow,
that's a good one.
Good stuff. That's like a Kevin Smith commentary. He gets everybody in a room, and does all that, and they go off on a tangent like we do.
And Cameron's really good on it too, I have to admit. I mean, he really dives into what's going on, and he said that coming into this, he had kind of Rambo Part 2. He had he didn't come in for the treatment on Aliens, but he almost walked out of the room, and someone's like, "Hey, I got one more idea. How about a Alien Part 2?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And then he also had Terminator in the cooker too. So he had three things going on in 84-ish.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And he said he had to allot how many pages a day he could write because he only had like so many months to get them all three done.
Right.
So he was like working 24/7 pretty much to get three of those done. What an era for him to be
back then too,
cranking out.
Yeah, he was. I don't know the guy personally, but his mindset now. Well, let's say post-Titanic versus pre-Titanic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like his mindset of being that, I guess I'm going to go ahead and use the term guerrilla filmmaker back in those early days,
Oh, yeah.
writing stuff and then directing his independent small budget film called Terminator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like he's got our folks. If you don't know us on this channel, we love John Carpenter here, and we got these sweet spots for John Carpenter, and Cameron's kind of falls into that range. And although there might be people that really liked his later movies, he really hit this sweet spot of films in the beginning,
Right.
Like he was knocking home runs out the park in his early career. I mean, who comes out swinging like that?
What was his apex? What's his apex? Titanic?
Well, I mean, I guess if you're going to do global phenomena, it's got to be Titanic, but
Or Avatar.
Yeah, but I think after like T2, he gets kind of like a blank check to do whatever he wants to do.
There you go.
Because they just know he's going to make money.
Yeah, I'm picking T2. Like that was
yeah.
There's a lot of revolutionary things about T2 that people I think gloss over. But if it wasn't for T2, he's almost a George Lucas in that respect, where he pushed boundaries of this is what I need, the visual. We got to make this happen, and because of T2, he gets everything else. So
right.
I'm saying T2 is the apex.
He also says on this commentary that the extended version,
that's 2000 something.
That was his version that he wanted to put out. It had the extra minutes of Newt's family. It's got some extra Marine Corps stuff going on. But
I actually did a deep dive into director's cuts, extended cuts, and things like that for this, because not specifically about that. So the consensus is if you don't have the director being interviewed to say, this is my definitive version, nothing else counts. Like take Blade Runner, it's got like 5 different versions of it out there. You know what I mean? And,
right.
Ridley Scott's version is, I think, the second version that came out. No extra stuff, no unicorn stuff, but it removes the
narration.
Yes, thank you. But it's the theater version. It just removes the narration. So sometimes I think we can all get confused about, is the extended cut the director's cut? Nah, not really. You know what I mean? But right. So that's cool that Cameron voiced that and says, this is that version that I like. And I remember years later, I caught that on cable. It was a random thing on HBO. Like they had showed that. And I was like, oh, Hadley's Hope or whatever. Because who knew what Hadley's Hope was if you didn't see that version? Or, as I just referenced before we started, the novel. Because the novel starts with Hadley's Hope. It starts with that actual scene. So, written by our beloved, I believe, Alan Dean Foster. If you had a novelization in the 80s or 90s, it was Alan Dean Foster.
Yeah.
Well,
it's funny because the movie doesn't need that.
No.
Hadley's Hope. So.
No, it doesn't. And if you look at it, I don't know if you guys had boned up before you watch this. If you look at Hadley's Hope, it's all kind of, it spoils things because there's a shot of the dad and he's got a face hugger on him.
Right.
I don't know if you remember that.
Right.
He's got that face hugger. So you're in an alien movie, but it's like you didn't need that. The tension builds a lot better if you get to the firefight scene. You know what I mean? So
you're using your imagination for the colony.
Yeah. Like what happened to them? Oh no.
Well,
like we don't want
you as the audience member going into this, from the previous film that you enjoyed so much that you're going to see a sequel. Oh, I know the alien does this, and they have eggs, and they have face huggers, and if all these people are missing, we know something went down.
Something went down.
So we are like with Ripley, we're in on it,
right
from the jump.
Yeah. And she's the only one that is in on it, except for, spoiler alert, you find out somebody else later. But, and I've never understood all that. So hopefully Bob can touch on some of that because that stuff is
what part?
Oh, well, the corporation.
Yeah. Well, Burke is in on it too. Yeah, and I've never understood even coming up to, is it Romulus? Romulus is except for Earth. But like Romulus was like, what's the company? Wayland Yutani?
Yutani,
right. Are they still calling it? Yeah. Like they've all had the same game plan. How does nobody call these guys out? Like it's a long running game plan, and it's like, Jesus Christ, what's the body count from those guys?
I know. Well, they keep
So-
everything under wraps, and they're kind of the big bad corporation, right?
The big bad corporation, right? So,
I mean,
it's
that's
convoluted.
coming from Cameron, right? He had a very suspicious feeling about corporate America at this time, because a lot of this reflects some Vietnam era, archetypes, with the army going in all confident, and they're battling the native type adversary
it's
who
their home. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah, I
and
wonder
then
who
the
that
corporate, they're doing it for corporate interest, and it's not for the
Right.
people. And so there's a lot of, he even mentions it on the commentary. There's just a lot of parallels. The Hadley's Hope part was one, they call it one reel, and they had to lift out like 20 minutes to make it a theatrical run, because they were worried about how many times you could play in a theater during the day to get money. So they were trying to get 20 minutes out, and it was his wife, the producer, who said, let's take reel 3 out. And he's like, no, we can't do that. That's the whole thing with Newt's family. But then he thought about it for a few days, and he's like, if you could just take that, lift it right out and butt it up, you don't really miss it. So
Right.
that's how they lost a big
Good
chunk.
call, Gail Ann Hurd. Is that
Yes,
what it was?
100%, yeah.
So,
So it comes in after they meet with Ripley, and Gorman comes in with Burke, right?
You always were an asshole, Gorman. So, he comes in with Burke and stuff. So, they find her, and then she's got that whole. I don't like the. It's a horror trope, and Cameron comes from a horror background too, from the Roger Corman school. The whole thing about, like, she was dreaming about the chest burster and stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
Like that's thrown in to me, my personal opinion, it's thrown in to be like, don't forget what kind of movie you're in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't like that. If they would have just found him, and she would have had her, the meeting with the company, which I think is one of the best scenes in the film, by the way, when she has
the
the
round
meeting.
table.
Yeah, the round table. Like, that's a really good scene. Yeah. It sets up where she's like, hey, bill me. Like, all of that stuff is really good. It gives, I can't think of another movie that does a quick synopsis in 10 minutes of what went on before. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, Nosferatu just walked in.
I know.
So, that was funny. Yeah. So it's like, I really enjoy that. And the pictures on the background. And of course, now in the modern era, everybody's paused those frames and looked at all the information. And
right.
And one of them's connected to another movie or something like that. Dallas, his thing or something is connected to something else. I can't remember what it is, but
it
might be the Terminator franchise or something like that. I don't know what it is. So
it's fun to see the old crew on there, but it's a bummer that they're all gone.
At this time, we didn't know the things we know now. Meaning, like, watching the theatrical cut, and the scene with Burke being, what do they call it? Cocooned? Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Him being
Dallas,
cocooned. That's part. No, that's in the original.
Oh,
but,
I'm sorry. Got it.
Yeah, Burke in this one, Dallas in the original. Like, you wouldn't know any of that. You didn't know that they captured them. So when Dallas disappears going back, in the first one, he's dead.
Right.
He's dead and gone.
Yeah, the cocooning is new to the audience in this franchise.
Right.
Yes, but the fact that they had a cutout scene of Dallas in the first one that we wouldn't find out till years after this one is amazing to me.
Yeah.
So I often wonder, the reason why, long exposition. The reason why I wonder is that I wonder if Cameron and guys have access to things like, oh, did you know this? And so he's like, I'm going to put that in there. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So there's food for thought. Yeah.
Well, I do have to roll one grenade in here. Is about how do they? So the alien? I
like grenades.
Do the aliens? Because what the mouth comes out, they usually kills their victim, but they also snatch them and make.
They need to have them alive, right? In order to.
So do they kill them or snatch them up,
or it's or.
It's an or.
Yeah, it's
right.
or. So that's why Dallas gets I'm probably in a perfect frame for it when it's all, there you go. So he gets that, and they cut because Ridley Scott is like, go back and listen to all his stuff for the first one. He's like, Dallas was taken. You You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I listened to, by the way, because I'm a super nerd, listen to, what's Yaphet Kotto's character's name? Oh, I forget.
Oh, yeah. Parker.
Parker, yeah, thank you. He puts the gun down. He says nothing. There was nothing there. No blood, no Dallas, no nothing.
Good one.
See?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's the same way with Burke. However, to speak to Bob's comment, the Burke scene has a generic scene of the alien opening its mouth
Yeah.
with the
hear
second.
something.
Yeah, the second thing. He turns around and it's got the mouth comes out. So you've got to assume he's dead.
Right.
So I'd be
Right.
curious to see if that scene's ever integrated into a version. And if he turns in the door, they've cut at that point. Because it doesn't make sense to Bob's argument
To
right
have
there.
an insert, to have an alien attack insert doesn't make sense in that.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's like open the door and have him like, uh-oh.
Because it
Yeah.
comes into play with Newt being taken.
Yeah.
You know, she's not killed right away.
She's not dead. And how did Ripley know that except for the Dallas scene?
Oh.
Like, there's
Yeah.
no other explanation for
Well,
that.
she sees the people being cocooned, I guess, on the video of the Marines.
Yeah,
So
but
she's
but
probably
she,
thinking
I guess she's the
they're
smartest
taken.
girl in the room because she just drew that conclusion. You know,
Yeah.
she's not dead. They don't kill them. They don't kill them. Well, that's not true, girl. They kill a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
It depends.
So,
50-50.
Yeah.
yeah,
So this movie does a lot of things that really, I think it's a good blueprint on a successful sequel. It gives us our familiar character in Ripley. It takes us back to where we knew the aliens were. It then gives us a fighting chance with the Marines. Like all of a sudden we're that's what we wanted in the first movie as a viewer. We wanted a way to kill this, and we're seeing this group of people and we're like, oh yeah, we got this. This is going to be good. We've got talented people. They're confident. They're capable.
I got the artillery.
It does a great
Yeah.
it does a great reveal on Bishop being an alien in a really
Oh,
nice
right,
subtle way.
right.
And we as people from the first movie know that we shouldn't trust this character because
Right.
he's an android,
Right.
right?
Right.
But
He's a wild card. Right.
he's a wild card. So
God
our
damn you, Bishop.
right, our eyes are on him being the bad guy,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
allows Burke to slide in and be the corporate weasel. Because Paul Reiser at that point was known for not playing that type of character.
Yeah, he was the good
He
guy
was
on
the
that
good guy.
TV series. Or I
Yeah,
forget
Mad
what
About
it's
You and
called. Mad About You, yeah. And some
Well,
other
that's
stuff.
afterwards, but yeah. What
Diner
I remember,
and-
Riser, I remember is off of
Beverly Hills Cop. He's
off
in that.
Diner.
Yeah, I
Diner
knew you were
was-
going to say Diner. Yeah, that's a big one with you. Yeah.
I don't think many people think of him in Diner, but he's great as
Dude,
Modell
many
in
people
that
don't think
movie.
about Diner launching the careers of,
Oh
was
my
it
God.
four?
The
4
guys
for
in
4?
Diner, right?
Gutenberg, Rourke. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say
Stern.
Rourke is kind of the biggest one? Sorry, don't want to throw that grenade in there.
Daniel Stern, right?
What's that? Daniel Stern.
Daniel Stern, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great one. But check out Paul Reiser in Diner. I just thought that's my favorite one of his favorite roles of mine. So
The great thing about Reiser is that they trick us because he's a nice guy, which then they use to the same effect in reverse when he shows up in Stranger Things later. Because you're like,
yeah,
oh, this guy's going to be a bad guy because he was a bad guy at Alien. Yeah. That's like the double flip. It's like a long con.
Oh my God. Even I did that. I was like, that's a bad guy.
Right
there.
He's gonna screw him over.
Yeah. Well, way to go, Paul Reiser, for having such a pivotal, oh my God, like character that it carried on for 30 years into, something else that you go in fresh, but it's like, oh yeah, he's a bad guy. Like that's great.
The pop culture long game.
Let's talk about Ripley for a moment because I know she's when I saw the scene with her packing on the guns and getting up the elevator.
Yeah,
I was like, is this the birth of the modern female action hero? Because I'm trying to think what was before that. There wasn't much.
Because you can't consider Sarah Connor the female action hero yet.
Right.
Yet.
4 years later, maybe.
4 years later, that's where we get.
Oh, definitely 4 years later. Yeah, yeah. If Ripley birthed it, then then Sarah Connor cemented it. Like
Yeah,
it has to be.
100%.
You've got to say that. Yeah, because, and everybody referenced this because Cameron wrote First Blood Part 2. So when she's doing that with the guns, there's the whole scene with Stallone doing that.
Just imagine that First Blood soundtrack playing over that,
I did, dude. Like that was perfect for that. You hear that him getting ready and stuff.
But it's not corny at all, though. You know what I mean? I mean,
No.
it became a bit of a trope later, but
Yeah.
with her doing it, it's such a effective
It feels
coming
earned.
of age. Yeah, it's earned.
It feels earned because you saw her in the first movie kind of become that a little bit.
resourceful. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
by the time we get to this movie, there's a great scene with her and Hicks, and she's like, "Show me how to use this gun. I'm not going to
Yep.
be defenseless against these things." Right?
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
like, what does she say? He said, or Hicks is like, well, I don't think you want to mess with that. And she's like, hey, you started this. Show me everything.
Yeah.
Right.
And he doesn't really go into it. That's a grenade launcher thing that
Oh,
she
yeah.
does on the Alien Queen at the end. I was like, God, that was sweet, man. Well, going back to the first Alien, she has that explosive moment with Ash where she gets mad at him.
Right.
And then she throws him up against the thing. So there is, I know I reference Alien for this a lot, but her character in Alien was not, I apologize, fandom. It was not written for male or female. It was just written, I think.
Just written. Right.
Yeah. And they cast her. It was really good. If I remember my stories correctly, but over the years I could be
That is
confused.
correct. Yeah.
You know
It
what
was
I mean?
genderless.
Yeah. Or it was written for a man and they cast her because she was really good. So I think that her in that role, being the quote, air quote, before it was ever created, final girl, showed that strength because she did have the ability to survive. You know what I mean? She chewed ass on Parker and Lambert. You know what I mean?
Right.
Quit arguing this, let's do that and stuff. So if Cameron would have betrayed that and she would have been just one
Damsel
of
in
the
Distress.
cast, oh my God, dude,
Yeah.
that movie, I just think the movie, it wouldn't have carried all these years with just the strength of the Marines alone. You know what I mean? It just couldn't have.
Right. Cameron
was-
definitely propelled his female leads into
Yeah.
being heroes.
Understood
good
the
for
assignment
him
of
for
this
that,
character. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well written.
Absolutely.
And you
Yeah,
have
but
to write
like-
it well to get her back to do this, right? It has to be a good role.
Well, you know, she got the most money for an actress at the time. It was like $1 million
That's so
bucks.
weird. I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
As she should have.
So,
right.
Yeah. Well, if I wasn't mistaken, wasn't it I don't think I want to come back and do that?
Yeah,
Wasn't it
they
like
kind of
that?
hemmed and hawed a little bit
Yeah.
about
She
it.
didn't want to deal with guns. She didn't want, she had like 3 stipulations. She wanted to make love to the alien or something like that. It was some weird, thing about it. And Cameron's like, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll get to that. Just give us a couple movies, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Damn, Bob, you just ruined my morning. Holy shit, I forgot about that.
Hey, but anyway, so he got her. he eventually talked her into. Well, Ripley would want to use the weapons to save the people. So he kind of
Right. Yeah,
disassociated it from her to a cause.
Right. Her character and the reason her character would do this thing. Yeah, it's 100%.
Yeah,
It's a
so-
logical train of thought for her character. That run away, you can't run away. You're stuck on the.
Right.
One of the great things about this is when we went into this, when we land on this planet, we're thinking, we got this by the ass and we got all this technology and firepower and all that, and it all goes tits up in like 10 seconds.
That's a great sequence too, isn't it?
Me going into this, not knowing anything back in the days pre-internet, I kept thinking there was one alien and they had flamethrowers and the prods and they couldn't kill it. Like its skin was tough. And so I didn't grasp what was going to happen. I didn't have that fantasy in my head about, oh my God, they're going to smoke all these things and stuff. And not jumping forward, but just cementing that. The shocker moment is me of Vasquez saying, let's rock. And they blow that one to pieces.
Right.
So to me, that's my, oh my God, eye opener of, I guess they do have the technology. It goes back to the zombie thing where it's like, well, too many can overwhelm. You know what I mean? Because it's like, hey. So,
Oh, yeah.
But I do like that they were able to kill the creature. Right. It's just that they were not these mindless, dumb brutes, so to speak. You know what I mean?
And there was just, like you say, numbers. They had numbers.
Yes,
right.
The numbers and stuff, yeah.
We as the audience knew how much trouble and one was going to be from the previous movie.
Yeah.
And then now we have endless hordes, and they've
right.
kind of conflated them like insects now in their life cycle, you know?
Right.
Oh, yeah. That's a good way to put it. I didn't think of it like that. Yeah. Well, do you guys remember the tagline for the
I was just going to say it.
Yeah.
Were you really?
Because that's exactly
everybody together now. We'll say it on 1, 2, 3.
3. This
time
it's war.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So we're good.
I got that poster in California, Jim, because I was trying to tag up if you and I were at California at the same time, and I missed you by a week. I was off by a week when we finally got back. But I went to, by the way, Cinemasterpieces, like back in the day and stuff when they weren't really big. I went there and got the Aliens poster because I had seen it in Colorado before I made it to California. And I was like, oh, I'm getting it. It was that big one with Ripley holding the gun.
Yeah,
it was
standing
just
in the
time,
eggs, yeah.
Yeah, it's war or whatever. I'm like, oh, my God. I was like, that thing was, I got a picture of my room in 86, and there it is, along with First Blood Part 2, sitting up there, you know. So great moment. Great tagline. Yeah. But I didn't know what it meant. Who knew what that meant? You know what I mean? So,
sure. Well, you knew something was coming, right?
Yeah.
Right.
On the Ready Lion.
And then we eventually saw it together, right? After you guys were
we did. Yeah. This is a recent discovery, that we all
on a giant screen in one of our local theaters.
Yeah, we had, folks, if you can't imagine, we had a 70 millimeter house at the time. It didn't have to show 70 millimeter, but it was one screen, probably 300 seat auditorium, stuff like that.
Huge.
It was probably it was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it was huge. It was a drive-in enclosed, if that gives anybody an idea.
Yeah, just about like.
You know what I mean? So
it's called the Mai Kai.
Yeah.
The Mai Kai, I forgot. Is that the thing with the volcano?
Yeah, volcano. Yeah.
Tiki accoutrements. Yeah.
And we tried to, if it came to the Mai Kai, even if we had it at our theater, we went to the Mai Kai to see it because of because
it was a special
screen,
place. I saw Empire there.
Oh, you got lucky. We didn't. Jim and I saw it at the
saw it at the Terrace, right?
Yeah,
I saw Superman there, Close Encounters there. I saw Damnation Alley there.
That was a big thing for us. We saw Jedi at the Mai Kai.
Yes, Jedi at the Mai Kai.
The Black Stallion.
We had it good with that theater. Yeah, that was something. I mean, they have the big ones now, but this was just like any movie could come out and would be there, just on some off Friday.
Cobra was a big thing for me on the Mai Kai screen.
Well, that was that year. I mean, let's just look at 86 real quick. Top Gun, Crocodile Dundee, Back to School, Aliens, Color Purple, Star Trek 4,
holy cow,
Ferris Bueller, Color Money, Stand By Me, Cobra. Yeah, there's Golden Child, Peggy Sue Got Married, Short Circuit, Pretty in Pink.
86 has got to be the part 2 to our is 84 the best year ever for film. Like 86 is the follow-up. I mean, it is hands down.
Yeah, birthed a lot of things.
Yeah, dude. 89 gives it a run for its money too. There's a lot of good stuff in 89. I knew that, but like, it's almost weird how it jumps, So, you know what I mean? You get 84, 86, and 89.
It's a good time to be working at a theater, and three of us happen to be in our sweet spot in that year.
Well, I know I'm getting a lot of grief for this because, a lot of generation wants to talk about a lot of stuff. A lot of generations talk about a lot of stuff, but I'm sorry. Everybody pulls from the 80s. Everybody pulls from it. It's the greatest era of film. And I'm not talking like cinema, like the way Bullet had that awesome chase scene or stuff like that, right. Or your visuals in Sorcerer, you know what I mean? I'm not talking like that. I'm talking about what it birthed in that decade as far as film.
Right.
Yeah, I think technology caught up with people's imaginations that were writing scripts, and things became easier to do. Not that any of that was easy to do, but
right.
You're coming out of the 70s with a lot of the post Watergate stuff like that, a lot of conspiracy stuff. And then you get in the 80s and it's just let's
action,
just let it rip.
Escapism, and let it go.
Well, we talked about that birth of the action hero one and it's like I don't know. It's almost like if whoever got out the gate first, maybe first and second, they were lucky because once the Band-Aid came off, everybody. I mean,
Sure. Yeah, Raiders.
the era,
early.
the era of VHS too was just ridiculous because
Oh, yeah.
I remember just like grabbing every action movie I could find on VHS to watch.
Right.
And they might not have been a big release.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
American Ninja. I'm talking
Just
about
to get
you.
your hands on something, right? It was,
Dudikoff.
Yeah, dude.
you
Dudikoff
couldn't even buy those movies back then. They were just like $80 or
rent
whatever.
them and hold on
$100.
to them for the 7 days so you didn't get penalized.
Right, for rent, you'd rent it and try to
make
watch
sure you
the hell out of it while you had it at home.
You physical media era, I know it makes us sound old, but man, if you didn't know what it was like trying to hope that movie was in at your local video store,
Right.
you'd be
Make or break your weekend.
if it wasn't. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And I'm like,
yeah.
I guess I'm watching it next weekend.
So walk around the store for another 2 hours to figure out it's the equivalent of scrolling your streaming,
Right.
and not spending 2 hours
man,
scrolling
yeah.
your streaming and not watching anything because you couldn't decide on what to watch.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you could call some stores. You could call and like make a reservation. I remember doing that.
Yeah. Well, I'll be out this Friday. We put your name down with 30 other people.
Yeah, you're fifth on the list, and then come in at 9:00. Maybe it'll be.
There it was. That's how I remember that. Be like, well, how many copies? I'm only going to get 5. You're number 6. That weekend's done.
Somebody returning one? I don't know. No, they're not due back until they might. Bring
Oh
it
my
back.
God, Bob. Oh my God. Bob and I briefly did a stint at a video store, and the vultures that hung around waiting for somebody to bring one in, they had that drop thing. Like they had
The Dropbox.
most people didn't. Yeah. So it's like every time you heard a clunk, everybody in the store froze, and then, man, those people come right up to the counter and be like, what's that one that came back? I'll be like, Driving Miss Daisy. Like they always thought it would be the newest one. And you're like I wanted to not be rude, but tell people there's no way that's coming back. Like maybe Monday it's coming back. But it's
the
not coming
hottest
back.
rental right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
It's not coming back Saturday afternoon. They didn't get it 10 o'clock last night and then watch it and brought it back.
Where do you want to take it from here? Merchandising?
Well, no, let's talk about some breakout characters from Aliens.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about the film a little bit. Yeah.
So we've got Vasquez, who is certainly a female action hero, and and not the first choice for that role. She came in afterwards, after the first lady did a similar Ripley thing. Well, I don't want to deal with guns or something, and it's like, well, it's right in the role. How do you not deal with
You're a
that?
soldier.
Like you're a Marine.
You're a Marine, right? And then let's talk about the late great Bill Paxton, who is the pressure valve on the tension in this film with.
He's got the
with
greatest
Hudson.
lines. in
And this
movie.
film, this film has a ton of lines that come from it, right? So we've, and I'm not going to.
My favorite one, I think, is why didn't you put her in charge? That's my favorite.
God,
That's
yeah.
my favorite one. I mean, everyone
Right.
likes the.
So
other
he's,
one, but-
Game Over is the one that.
Game over, man. And that's in the background.
Right. And
Like there's a foreground scene happening with Ripley and Newt while he's like, game over, game over. Like he's just walking in the background doing that.
And up to this point, he's like a real braggadocious character. Like he's the tough guy.
dude, yeah.
And he completely falls apart, which is fantastic. Yeah.
Also, I had a real hard time processing USCM because we had friends like, remember Don and stuff. Jim,
USMC.
USMC, yeah. So we had friends in the Marine Corps, and so it was a hard time. Every time you say it, you wanted to say USMC, but it wasn't. It was USCM, and I thought that was a great subversion on that. But I guess what that meant to me is that maybe other worlds or everything was. It's the Marine Corps wasn't what it was in the 80s. So maybe the Vasquezes couldn't be in the Marine Corps. Maybe there was an issue with it. I don't know.
Hey, Vasquez, you ever get mistaken for a man?
Yeah. No to
No.
you. Like, no to you. Right.
There's a couple other guys that I would have liked to see more, like Frost and
Oh, yeah. We need some more
is
Apone.
Dietrich, I guess.
Dietrich, right.
More Apone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those three characters, I was like, I wanted to see a little bit more of them, but there's some stuff expounded in the novel too. That's
Sergeant Apone was actually in Vietnam. He was a soldier. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He had some military experience, so he just. Hudson.
It just oozed right out, real easy. It oozed right out of him. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny though.
He's got a couple great lines too. Apone.
Yeah.
He's like, "Come over here, come over here."
Oh yeah, that dude. The way first of all, I smoke cigars, so I'm pretty.
That thing was right on that.
First, yeah, dude, he chewed that thing like a professional, like no other. Like,
yeah.
Hudson, come over here. Come, like, oh man, like to this day, I'm still like, man, that's awesome. You know, like everything worked for him. You know, look into my eye. What is that? Like, I don't even know what that was. You know, so you know. And that one line that he has, where it's like Bay 12, please, and he's laughing.
Oh
yeah, Hicks, you know. Right. But I want to talk about this camera shot of the Ready Up troops, where it follows one, he hits his boot, gets up and runs, and it follows the other to the other side of the room. And Cameron is not. I feel like his movies are very standard. They're great cinematography, but they're not experimental cinematography. So this looks like a handheld shot that comes into the ready room where they're getting on the line, and it follows, you know, the other guy, and he gets his helmet, and then that guy runs and it goes to the other side for the other one. Like, that was very unique to me at the time. You know what I mean? I didn't see a lot of that, you know? So I was like, the Steadicam comes to mind.
Oh, well,
you know what I mean? Like that type of thing. Go ahead.
Well,
what are you going to say?
I was going to talk about the machine guns on the Steadicam arms.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to lead into. Yeah.
What a great. Yeah.
And Cameron took that idea with Vasquez's and was it Drake?
Yeah.
And Drake's submachine guns. They were on the Steadicam rig. Again, a great piece of that's meta. I mean, today we call that meta because it's like, wow. You know what I mean? So imagine the troops of the future using technology of today.
Right.
I absolutely love that. And then the way they stood up with it, I was like, oh my God, I better be quiet.
That's interesting. While we're talking about the Marines, and you know, they're dressed all like kind of more
it's urban
independently. They're each has their own little get-ups,
little bit of a flare on their armor.
Yep.
And it wasn't really like that in science fiction movies up until this point. They were all like the stormtroopers in Star Wars or whatever. And they all had similar uniforms that's futuristic.
This had a very
this really
Vietnam
throws back to
reflection.
that Vietnam era again. We're talking about where and even Cameron mentions it in the commentary about how he considered them more of like an army group that was toward the end of their tour. You know, they had seen everything.
Damn, sucks for them.
Wasn't Hudson mentioned? It's like 4 weeks, man.
He's like, it was short, man. Yeah, he's pulling on that thing. He's like, oh man, 4 weeks and I was out. You know, even Burke is tired. Let's just talk about that for a second. The one comedic Paul Reiser moment comes up when Burke is tired of Hudson bitching. You know, he's like, maybe we can build a campfire, light some mushrooms. You know, that whole scene, everything wipes out. So I was like, good for Paul Reiser to get a line or two in there as well. So, well, what surprised me to speak on Bob, what he was saying was like when Hicks pulls that shotgun out, he's like, I'd like to keep this available for close encounters.
Right. You're like, that's not standard issue, right?
Yeah. And Frost is like, I heard that. Like, that was a cool thing. But he uses it. He gets one shot off with it. Sticks it in the mouth. He's like, eat this. You know what I mean? So, which is great. I like that. There are some other Marines that were kind of like the pilots. They didn't focus on too much, you know?
Right.
The one girl, she gets
the
kind
aviators.
of a little bit of screen time, but I was like,
Corporal Farrow. Right.
Yeah. And Weberowski,
Dietrich.
was it?
Dietrich.
Was it Dietrich? Yeah. I don't know who's who anymore.
I know. I have to kind of refresh.
He was the one that got he was like, there's some sticky crap here.
Spunkmeyer.
Spunkmeyer. Yeah, Spunkmeyer, what are you doing? That thing comes in there. But technically, I like that scene because it killed itself. Like, it killed the pilot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Kamikaze
and so when
alien.
when that thing crashed, like, the hive mind aspect, did it know that it was coming to rescue the other ones so that
No,
if
I
he
just
could...
think it was an animal eating another animal. So I think that's what it was.
Okay.
And that causes the whole countdown,
Yeah.
because it destroys the reactor or whatever, and then, or partially destroys it, and then it becomes we only got 2 hours before a whole planet, the whole area blows up. So it becomes our
Hudson
countdown.
freaks out at that too. He doesn't even understand what's going on. He's like, that's great. That's just great.
Yeah.
But, it's like, okay, I need some exposition here to find out. Anyway, sorry.
So some great characters, right? I mean, that's probably what makes this movie special, I think, right?
Right. Because you care about them.
And it's like the team in John Carpenter's Vampires. I mean, Jim and I saw that. And it's like that James Woods team assembled with some really cool actors and stuff. And then, of course, spoiler alert, in their first big hunt, they all get wiped out. So that was very reminiscent of this.
It just shows you how bad your villain is, right?
Yes. Yep. So, but the Marines got more of a setup time, which is good. They got the travel time, they got to eat, and then the reveal of Bishop, when he cut his finger with the
blade
knife thing. Yeah. So, and I didn't even think about that going into it. I didn't think about I thought,
an android.
They use that. Yeah, you're not going to get an android. But then Burke explains, there's standard issues. We have one on every trip to make sure things can't go wrong. And thank you, James Cameron, for being the only guy that has probably subverted expectation, because the android in every Alien movie is a bad guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? So unless you count Winona Ryder's weird one. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, I guess Romulus is too. So never mind. My theory doesn't hold up. So, it's just Ridley Scott wanting to be the androids, all the bad guys and stuff. So everybody else is like, I'm tired of that.
We can't leave the discussion without one of the other things that Aliens did really well was it expanded upon the xenomorph in itself. So we know that they hatch eggs, and we know there's face huggers, and there's some great face hugger action on the move, which freaks everybody out. But we get to where the eggs come from, and we were introduced to the alien queen, which is just a really phenomenal design and concept, and it becomes the biggest of bads. And
we overlook it now, but
it's easy to overlook now, but it was a really big deal when it happened.
Well, the LV-426, that's the Hadley's Hope, right? Make sure I'm saying that right. So I don't know all the lore, because I think the lore is not written very well. So, where was the queen in
Alien?
In Alien,
sure,
means the queen was kind of still there.
Had to be there,
because
right?
He saw millions of eggs. Kane saw hundreds of eggs down in the thing,
right?
But I'm not willing to have a discussion on this. Sorry, no grenades here. But do they open up only when they discover presence? Or do they just open up and run around as face huggers?
No, I think they discover when something's there to latch onto is when they activate it.
Because that makes sense. You know what I mean? That's more understandable than the other stuff. So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I want to keep expounding on the queen, because, we kind of overlooked that very easily after all these years, but it was huge at the time.
Well, they did that in the movie. They said, where's these eggs come from? And they were like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Right. So I'm glad that Cameron was like, I got an answer for you, so
sure.
And that's great. And gross, by the way, with the
the tail.
The ovipositor
thing, birthing that and all that. And then the intelligence, we got your first sign of intelligence when Ripley took the flamethrower, pointed it at the egg, and then you saw the queen move its head, and the two soldiers on the side went back.
Right.
So you're dealing with an intelligent creature, not one to screw around with. It can match yours. But we had that in Alien Romulus too, by the way, because it was like that one girl that was, it was like, it wants us to open the door. Remember?
Right.
That was Romulus, right? Yeah. So I do like that people deal with the intelligence. The face huggers, not so much. Those are like the babies, so they're just doing whatever. And by the way, back then, 86, that was a terrifying scene with the lighting and the rain coming down.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The sound. And I think I won an Academy Award for sound design, because
they did it really good for him.
And Weaver was nominated, which was the first time for a sci-fi movie to have an actress
You
nominated.
know, they were just like, here's consolation, we'll nominate you, but we won't.
That's a good. At least she broke a ceiling with that. At least,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
The sound with the Queen is great too. It's like all that, all that
Hissing
breathing and all that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Well,
creepy as
being
hell.
the walking scene, I think it's quick, but I think it's you don't see it until she's in the
elevator.
elevator. Yeah,
That's a
and
great
it's
part.
all-
Where she just kind of looks at the elevator as it opens, and you're like,
Yeah,
you
it's
kind
like,
of
man, what the
put it
hell?
together.
Yeah, but the fact that it was walking all that giant
Yeah.
spider-esque.
Puppeteered the crap out of it. Yeah, and it looked
Yeah,
great.
that's that Jurassic Park stuff right there, man. You know,
That's
what?
Stan
So,
Winston Studios. So yeah,
yeah. So I mean, good. Like I said, I think
they brought their
a
A
lot
game.
came out of Aliens that that doesn't get as much credit because we remember it for being it's such a fun movie and it's got good lines, but visually and what was accomplished in that is laid the groundwork for a lot of stuff to come. So
There's some great behind the scenes pictures of them trying to kind of figuring out the alien queen and how she was going to work. And there's like two guys strapped to a thing and each working some arms and on a crane. And
it's like that Jabba thing.
The hydraulic thing was a giant guy, strong guy, working behind her.
oh, the
I forgot about
power
that.
loader.
The lift,
Yeah.
power
loader.
loader. Yeah,
It was like
I forgot about
like
that.
a strong man, stunt man, moving it behind her.
just great, fantastic movie magic.
Like you didn't need the whole scene with Ripley. I think this is what I can do and stuff. Like nowadays you'd be like, oh, that's going to come into play later. But
Right.
back then you were just like, okay,
She was trying to make herself part of the team and do
part of the team.
not feel
Yeah. I feel like a
useless.
fifth wheel. What can I do? Yeah, but good callback that she was able to use that against the queen because it's like, well, yeah, how are you going to survive fighting the queen? You know what I mean? Or years later, have a predator take it on.
Great Bishop action with Lance Hendrickson from everything
He's great.
from squeezing himself into the little tiny corridor to
Dude,
set
we
up
talked
the.
about that all the time.
Oh god, yeah, that thing. It's claustrophobic.
That claustrophobic shot of him.
They seal
Oh
it
my
back up.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weld them back right into it so we can.
There's
get to the
a
end
really
of it.
cool moment, and I don't know whose idea it was, but like somebody does that whole pistol, hands it to him right before they're about to seal it up, and oblivious of the people that are sealing it up, he goes and gives it back to the person.
Yeah, I don't need this.
And then they seal him in. So I'm like, what? Wait, what was that? Like, he was like, what am I going to do with this? Why are you giving me a pistol?
Right.
Like, and there's no explanation.
It's
It
a
literally
human
is just a
versus an
visual
ant-
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it just is. He had a very childlike manner to him.
Let me go down.
Yeah. You guys need this more than I do.
And then he wasn't there, of course, in the subversion expectation when he didn't show up.
Yeah, that he
Till
screwed
the last
them.
second.
And,
Yeah.
yeah.
And by the way, that was to me probably one of the best, not the best moment in the film, but where I was like, where he was like,
Come on, you're rooting for him. Yeah.
Yeah, you were rooting at that, and then she ripped him in half, and I was like, I
yeah.
thought something was actually coming out of him. Didn't realize it was the queen. You know what I mean? But
Oh,
then I was
right,
like,
tail.
right. It's-
yeah,
They do a chest buster, fake out.
yeah, with his tail, and then but the fact they ripped him in half, I was like, oh my god, he's that little torso just shaking around on the
It
ground.
still
down
saves
there.
Newt though.
He does. Yeah, he does.
Real quick, I guess just touch on the merchandise real quick. We got a few minutes left.
Well,
Jim, you
books,
mentioned some of the old stuff,
comics.
the old Kenner stuff.
And it didn't seem like it was a while after that. I was like, but Kenner did a toy line, and it had somewhere in a box. I've got a Ripley. There's a little power loader toy, and there were many different alien designs. Like if an alien ate a gorilla, this is what it made it. What it looked like. And then if an alien, they were just coming out with everything that they could come out with.
Yeah.
So. I mean, it's literally called Gorilla Alien or something like that.
I forgot about that.
They're corny, but there wasn't much, and it's
No.
well,
It's like the He-Man thing. They were all
it's
Chunky.
limited articulation.
Yeah.
There again is that line that RoboCop crossed and Rambo crossed, and these are like R-rated movies, and somehow we thought, hey, kids' toys, much like the first Alien movie.
right. They planned a line and they never did it. They only released that 18-inch guy.
And somebody
You
said,
know?
this is an R-rated movie. You can't make
Yeah.
toys for little... because they were all high on the Star Wars.
Star
prophets.
Wars, yeah, because it was high on the Star Wars.
Star Wars,
yeah, because it was Kenner. Kenner did that 18-inch thing, yeah.
And anything that was space was like, just slap something on it. We'll get it out. People will buy it.
Yeah.
And
Well, the Aliens really was it, because He-Man was super popular, and like they were all like, the people weren't He-Man-esque. At least if you were lucky, you could find a cool version of like a Apone. Right. Of all people, you get a figure of him, but the outfit is not even close, and it's this bulky Rambo type. And it was big on the machine stuff. Like you press a button, it's all, it like comes around you. Like it was weird wind up stuff.
It almost looked like toys that were designed for a cartoon that never came into existence, is what it looks like.
Right. And we didn't get the power loader is one of those things that's like, you know what? Nowadays, people probably just paint that and make it look cooler. And
you could distress it and whatnot.
Find a reaction figure of Ripley or something,
Right.
Because nowadays you can do anything with that. But I admit, I think I bought some of the aliens because I was like, they're pretty cool,
Yeah.
Like the bull alien, which it's
the bull, alien.
Kind of.
He's got alien with horns, and it's just.
And we didn't know this at the time because it would take Alien 3 to do this, or Alien Cubed. I'm not sure how it refers to that, but you didn't know that if the facehugger went on a certain
dog,
thing, it took on the properties of that.
Right.
Yeah. So the guys at Kenner were probably ahead of their day for 5, 6
it's one of those
years.
They kind of expanded the lore of the Xenomorph, so which is kind of cool.
Well, in the 80s too, wasn't there a comic by Dark Horse in that when they
Dark
started
Horse
up?
did a nice series of comics, yeah.
Yeah, and that was it. Once you got the lore in the comics, they were like, "Oh, we got the green light." They just started doing everything. And it's funny how they always stayed away from Earth until I guess this series that just came out a year ago.
Yeah,
because the comics and everybody was like, "We're not touching Earth," because once you pull on that cord, if they start infecting that, like, how are we gonna?
Right. What is the rate of infection versus?
It's like,
would a planet be overrun with aliens in 24
and they tried
hours?
They tried that with those Predator films, and it just it did not work.
We'll see what happens with the Alien Earth series. I know it's season 2 is in the works.
Yeah, what. Yeah, you're right. So. But it's always got to be isolationism. It's the same thing with The Thing. It's Alien, the Thing, even though the story came first, Alien takes cues from who goes there, and The Thing, 82 Carpenter, takes cues from Alien because, if you have the one protagonist and stuff, it's a lot better. But, I think Cameron found an excellent way to have multiple creatures fighting multiple people that had equipment that could deal with them for an entertaining ride. Like, you cannot deny that.
And right from the get-go on this movie, there was people kind of comparing it to the Starship Troopers novel, because you had Space Marines and you had drop ships and you had bug hunts and you had, so there's probably a little bit of that DNA in this.
And that's what's weird, because people in the zeitgeist or the public don't equate that until a movie comes out, and then they say Starship Troopers is ripping off Aliens, and then for those in the know, you got to say, no, it's not. That novel existed in the 50s before this came along. You know what I mean?
Kind of an influence of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, it is really hard to do originals today. Like, come on, even subconsciously something could affect you, and you're like, oh, I want to do something like that. But, you either get a hit or a miss. Good for whoever does that.
Depends on how well you do it, I guess.
Yeah. And it's too bad that we lost the characters that we did, like Gorman, Vasquez, and Hudson. They go out with a bang. Like, those are good endings for those characters. The other ones are kind of like, like it's, not told or anything like that. But it's like, you lose a lot in the opening skirmish, so you're like, okay, that sucks. It narrows
it down, right?
Yeah, but when you get that core, their final battle creeped me out too. By the way, when they went up in the ceiling, he's like, it can't be right. It's right in the room. You know what I mean? I'm reading it right. Like, that's phenomenal.
And before we leave this, let's give a big shout out to James Horner and his fantastic score for this. It really drives the movie.
Yeah.
Was there a story behind that? He was pissed during the production, I guess, because Cameron would keep changing the edit.
That's
And it was just like he got fed. He's like, I'll never work with him again, And then he ended up working on Titanic.
Yeah, because they were like, I can write you a blank check. Go make some music for me. And
then they used cues from Star Trek, Wrath of Khan.
Wrath of Khan. Yep.
Yeah.
Some cues from some alien cues. And he was just like fed up.
I do want to mention real quick, because Bob brought him up about the director's cut. There's an extended scene with the auto guns. Mm-hmm. Everybody does talk about that.
Yeah.
And I think that people miss the point of that. Like, they set up the auto guns in the outside hallway, and the auto guns get trained because the queen is throwing her minions at them.
Yeah, they learned
the hallway and stuff. Yeah, so
they learned. That's why they ended up in the ceiling, because they learned from the auto guns.
Yeah, right? I love that. So, but all these years later, we could take that apart and go, oh yeah, it's cool. But at the time, I didn't see that until years later on HBO, and I was like, this is just a cool scene with the auto guns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they had all this extra technology that you didn't know about. Clearly, the bandolier of bombs that are this big.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I think Gorman gets a good one too, where it's like, you always were an asshole, Gorman. Like, I think that's good. Yeah. That's a good scene for them.
Yeah, he redeems his character.
Absolutely,
he
goes back. Right. He doesn't leave her. Right.
Doesn't.
Yeah. So, I would like to say this in conclusion: I do not acknowledge the franchise. To be honest,
I don't want to get into too much.
I know,
but
I'm not going to say it. I just wanted to say that
it's a crime that what happens to them at the beginning of 3. Yeah, it's like,
and if you know, folks, you know what's the saying? If you know, you know.
Yeah,
so
it's just because 2 is like, Hicks is saved and Bishop saved.
There's optimism at the end of 2, and it ends,
which is terrible, because I do want to say this: David Fincher is one of my favorite directors.
Oh yeah, I mean,
he's phenomenal, and I love his work, but I don't think that was his movie. There's
a long history of how that movie's been screwed with up and down, left, right, center, and it was supposed to be something else entirely when it started. So.
Was this the summer movie of '86? Probably.
I don't know. Top Gun was in there too, though, man. I don't know.
I don't know about Top Gun.
Top Gun's a little earlier, I think, in May, and then this.
I want to see Maverick take on a xenomorph, and it's not going to happen. So until War of the Worlds.
Yeah, you got War of the Worlds. There you go. So Spielberg and Cruise taking on. Yeah, that's right, Hudson.
I am dangerous, or whatever the hell he said.
That's what he said. Yeah. So, well, I guess. Yeah, you're right. It was Top Gun summer. I apologize. You're right. I can remember that.
I mean, for the whole, the audiences in whole, I think this was more
spoiled.
Sci-fi.
They were very spoiled in 1986 as movie going.
Well, Top Gun did take over because it had a booming soundtrack to go with it, so it just kept pushing it. It was there the summer. It was like, if you want one of the best rides you're going to have. And Aliens is a little dark. Top Gun was not rated R, so I mean,
right.
I don't know. That's why I think
just a wider appeal, but as
far as I just want to see the image of Tom Cruise riding away on his motorcycle with the xenomorph hugging him in the back instead of killing Gillis.
Oh my God! Well, you're the artist here, brother. You should draw that for one of your.
Not happening, but it's fun.
There you go. Come on now.
Come on, man. That's a perfect project for you. Draw that bad boy. So, God, that's funny. That's funny. We need to stop there.
All right. Let's wrap it up. I think that's about all we can say about one of our favorite sci-fi movies, Aliens. I guess we'll just leave it at that. I can't top that. So join us next time on the Fandom Outpost. And please check out our social media, the Fandom Outpost, on Instagram and Facebook. Drop us a comment. Tell us what you think about this movie and any other topics we have listed on our social media. We'd love to hear from you. And
folks, if you haven't yet, please go check out our channel. Bob has a great episode about modern horror, if you will. Him and his buddy Ron. Ron, I'm sorry. So please check those out. Those are always good to watch. We only kind of get together to do these nostalgic ones, like I say. So we have a lot of other things to offer, and that's a really good one. Please check that out.
Well, we'll see what we catch this summer. I'm sure we'll talk about something coming up. I don't know. There's an Odyssey. There's a few other things. So we'll see what we want to jump on next and see what sparks our interest and sparks our conversation. And hopefully you guys can join, our audience can join the conversation too. All right. Absolutely. Well, with that, we'll say farewell for now from the Fandom Outpost. I'm Bob.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Mark.
See you next time.
Pot over, man.